Now, 2 months after the Plateau State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, is still reeling from crisis generated by the conduct of primaries ahead of the 2023 general election. Most of the party primaries conducted in the state have created division in the party, leading to defections and court cases. However, some APC members have called on the leadership of the party in the state to speed up efforts at resolving the crisis so as not to undermine the party's electoral chances in the elections. Joining us now to discuss efforts at resolving the crisis in the state chapter of the party following his emergence, his manifesto, and the state of the nation is Plateau State Gubernatorial Candidate of the APC, Dr. Nentawe Goshwe. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.
Thank you.
Great. Now, aspirants who are vying for your position as candidate have described the process which preceded your emergence as illegitimate at best. What do you say to that?
You can't say the process is not legitimate. Yet, all the people that protested has gone to court to challenge the process that brought me in. What they're challenging is not the process that brought me in. They wouldn't challenge the process that brought in the delegates, which they couldn't challenge before the primary election. They challenged after the primary election. The conduct of the Congress was done far before the primary election, and there was an appeals committee that was set up by the party, people who are aggrieved because of the Congresses, and none of them, or no single delegate, the protest against the selection process of the delegates. And at the Congress also, at the primary election also, the list of delegates presented. All the agents who were present there accepted the list. Accreditation was done. They accepted accreditation. Election started, and with the election with 3 local governments, and they accepted the process. Ground rules were laid. They accepted the ground rules and accepted the election with 3 local governments. It was after the 3rd local government before they started the session would work out on the ground that the vote will win 1%. The person who led the protest was not even the party agent. He came with the tact of a pressman.
All right, Dr. Goshwe, thank you for that. I want to go straight into it and ask about your policies or your manifesto, so to speak, especially in the areas of insecurity, if you do win the ticket, seeing as how that is the major topic of conversation on the minds of Nigerians right now, seeing as there's lots of skirmishes all over the country. But we know historically Plateau State has been bedeviled with all sorts of violence, unfortunately. Your current governor, our current governor, Simon Lalong, has gone on record to say that he has had some of his own issues with trying to deal with insecurity in terms of he has bought equipment and he has ideas, but when it gets to the federal government level, for whatever reason, he cannot get them to sail through or agree with him. Also with the with the NSA, there are some bureaucratic bottlenecks and red tapes there. Seeing as how he's been governor for some time and he's complaining about having his own hands tied behind his back to help the state, I'm wondering if you have any new solutions to throw at the door, seeing as this is the position you now want to occupy.
Yeah, the issue with Plateau insecurity is quite unique. First, the terrain of Plateau is very unique. We are a rocky environment with hills and mountains. Sometimes even people who are deployed to come and intervene, either soldiers or police who are coming from other states, of course, they are newcomers to the state. We find it difficult to be entered into our own forested mountains. So it's difficult for most of them out of fear to go and intervene because most of the accidents takes place in the night. Secondly, we have a large landmass. Was a local government alone, which is now not only threatened by security. It's having over 4,000 square kilometers. Abia State has just about over 5,000 square kilometers. Whilst it's almost Abia State, in Abia State, whilst it has only one police station, Abia has over 40 police stations. The number of security men you have to track for this community is very few. So we lack manpower actually to track most of the large land mass that we have, especially in local government like Basa, local government like Bakinadi, local government like Rio, and also Wasi and Kanam local government. These are large local government that has large space to manage, as a state. Thirdly, these poor community killers, they come with sophisticated equipment, they come with night vision goggles, they come with lesser torchlights, with their own, so they can view us in the night, they can see in the night, and yet people are coming empty-handed. They have the technology. Even the police don't have night vision goggles. Soldiers don't have night vision goggles. There's no complete lack of technology in addressing and monitoring and managing security challenges. So what will I do different? Number one, I will set up a security trust fund for the state, so that all contracts in the state, local government, and federal projects in the state, 0.5% of it will go to a security trust fund. The local government will contribute, the state will contribute, so that we have enough funds for us to manage the security in the state. We will buy equipment, technology, from satellite mapping to long-range cameras to drones, using Operation Rainbow that we have in the state already, which NSA already, that's already started with the NSA. With that, we can deploy to rural communities. We'll learn from Anambra State and Ondo State, from Omotopo. We'll recruit bodies that we have from our hunters who are already used community, vigilantes, rural community. We'll bring it up under Operation Rainbow, deploy their community policing. We'll add them as manpower in rural communities so that they will act to resistance for these attacks in the rural communities. We will give the appropriate answer allowed by law, and also give the appropriate answer allowed by law also, so that we can do intelligence gathering, early warning system in the rural communities, and then get intervention in rural communities. I'm sure if you do that, something fresh and fresh ideas will come in, and we can have renew our own community system, and then we can now have response to the rural communities before the police come into intervention.
Now, Dr. Goshwe, some people believe that your candidacy was foisted on your party in Plateau State, the APC, by the current governor. In fact, there are reports that the governor asked you to resign from INEC to contest as governor. Now, this begs the question of how impartial you were in carrying out your duties as a resident electoral commissioner when it seems that you've had political ambition for a while.
As an INEC commissioner, there was no any record anywhere that I played partisan politics. And there's no record anywhere that I participated or was a member of any political party. Rather, as an INEC commissioner, I didn't conduct no election in an INEC commissioner, and there was no election I was involved in, from Rivers to Anambra to Ondo, Oshun, to Dino recall, several elections I was involved in, even by the way, that anybody petitioned me for being partisan in the elections I conducted. And rather, most elections I conducted, down to the election, most of them have been adjusted as some of the freest elections that we conducted in Nigeria.
Now, let me ask you, follow up on that. You participated in the conduct of the 2018 election in Osun State, the Osun governorship election. And so many people believe it was controversial. In fact, a lot of people believe the PDP won. But at the end of the day, the APC was declared winner. Now that you have openly declared your romance with the APC, can you reassure Nigerians that the outcome of that election in 2018 was indeed credible?
But why should people are out of the several elections I conducted? Because I conducted elections in Edo. I did, recall, I did the one in the Rivers. I did several other elections. Why take one? But if you take one, I actually took one senatorial zone that I monitored. I monitored the election in the senatorial election that I conducted. It was SDP that won, not even APC or PDP. But senatorial zone that I monitored in that very elections, where I supervised as an INEC commissioner, it was won by SDP.
Great. Now, even though you said the aggrieved
delegates have not necessarily taken this matter to court. I'm just wondering if you have any update for us concerning that petition that was filed on June 15th on behalf of those, 17 aggrieved delegates of the party.
Well, I'm not been served. They took the party and not me to court. So the case is before the court. I can't comment much on the merit of that case, but I'm sure the court tell me whether they exhaust. But not like I said, none of them exhausted the mechanism the party provided, because the party provided the mechanism for them to agree to go to court and get justice. And none of them went to court. But I'm waiting. I don't want to critique what the court will do. But believe me, nobody actually challenging me as a person. None.
Okay, Dr. Goshwe, nobody is challenging you in person, but it's clear from the walkouts to the reports of the 17 aggrieved senators that a lot of people are not seeing the process as completely free, fair, and credible. But those are opinions.
Can I correct you also?
Sure. Go ahead, please. Please go ahead.
We don't have 17 aggrieved aspirants. 9 people bought forms. 9 of us bought forms, not 19 as represented. The press conference that was made, and they said 18 aggrieved aspirants. My name was on that list. I wouldn't have been aggrieved aspirants because they used a list that will go to the party office. People that were indicating interest contest, not as if they're contesting. And we took an attendance. 6 people went to make a press conference. Only 1 of them bought form. The remaining 5 did not buy form. Now, out of the 9 people that contested with me, 4 stepped down before the primary election. 4 went into primaries with me. So if anybody is agreeing that those 4 that went into primary election with me, that would have been talking about being agreed. If somebody indicated that I want to contest, it's never even going to be, he didn't buy form to contest for the election. He didn't participate in the primaries in the election. How can you say you're an aspirant who is aggrieved, who didn't buy form?
All right, then. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. We hope to have you back on the show to ask you more questions. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, Dr. Goshwe.